It's our friend Tony Jones from The Athletic, presented by Budweiser here on the Bill Riley Show today. The Jazz are still a month and a half out from still thinking about camp beginning, but Donovan Mitchell's likely, Tony. Nothing's finalized yet, but likely now, much more likely now than he was, say, a month ago to be part of Team USA this summer. Give me the pros and the cons of Donovan Mitchell playing, a month and a half or a month of basketball with some of the best in the world.
Well, I think the cons are the fact that you got three guys that are in your first six that are going to be playing and have that projected to play heavy minutes in that format. And that's Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Joe Ingles. Rudy Gobert is a central player, probably Team France's best player, and Joe Ingles is a high minute rotation player with Australia. So, I think that the cons is collectively those guys are going to be playing basketball until around September 15th. Training camp starts like September 30th, somewhere around that. So there's only going to be about 2 weeks of downtime for those guys to get back and kind of, rest and kind of catch their legs. And 3 weeks before the preseason starts. So I think those three guys are going to get real light preseason work. And I think that the Jazz can get away with it because, those guys have been entrenched into the system. They know the system. So I think that, those guys are going to have some DNPs during the preseason and, just some light minutes just to kind of give them a chance to rest their legs before the regular season. I think the pros, especially with Donovan Mitchell, is the fact that, obviously you say he likely makes this team unless he kind of bombs next week in training camp. I think the pros is the fact that it's just another step in his evolution, and it's another step for I really think Donovan's I think the vision on Donovan have really helped the Jazz in free agency this year. I think that over the last 2 years, I think Donovan's presence has kind of made the Jazz cool again a little bit. And I think that this is just another step in his evolution, assuming that he makes the team. And I think that, it's another step in his evolution in terms of, okay, these are the next steps that you have to take to really cross into superstardom. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens there. But I think that A, he makes the team, and I think that B, I think that he plays some really good minutes, especially with all the defections.
When you've talked to your colleagues around the NBA this summer, fellow athletic writers and others, what's kind of their view of the team you'll be covering this year? What's been kind of their reaction to what they've seen the Utah Jazz do?
Well, they're always telling me, like, wow, Tony, your team is finally going to be good. I think that, most of the beat writers really like what the Jazz have done and think that the Jazz have a chance to kind of climb the mountain a little bit, so to speak, this year. And this I think it's a buzz in terms of what they've done and how much depth that they've accumulated and how good their first 5, 6, 7 players have a chance to be. So, most of the guys that I work with, they're kind of like, get ready for a long season because, your guys are going to be playing until late May. The guy that we're really rising is Jovan Bull from who covers the Los Angeles Clippers because he's about 25 years old. And, we're telling him, like, yep, you're going to be playing until, like, late June next year. So it'll be interesting to see. But, that's kind of the reaction that I've been getting so far.
It's almost not fair that a guy that's 25 years old gets that beat. You got to pay your dues somewhere.
My God, he's great on it, too. Like, No, that was the thing. Like, they didn't want to give him the Laker beat, so they gave him the Clipper beat. And now the Clippers are like the best team in the league now. So, but he's done really, really, really well on it. And he's a terrific writer, and he's a terrific reporter.
There wasn't a whole lot of NBA news this week. C.J. McCollum got a big deal that just locks up that backcourt for some time. I'm not sure what to make of Portland. They could be a top 4 team, or I could see them down being in that 5, 6, 7 range too. For me, I think it really depends on how Nurkic comes back from that injury, and if some of those guys on the bench can give them the production that they got last year. You know what McCollum and Lillard are going to give them. I'm just still kind of curious. I think they're a good team. I'm just not quite sure where to place them in the West right now, Tony.
So I'm not a fan of what Portland did this summer. They uninsulated their best guys defensively, and this is what I mean. So let's take when Portland plays the Utah Jazz, for example. When Portland played the Utah Jazz, they put Mo Harkless on Donovan Mitchell, and they put Al Farouk Aminu. And when the Jazz went small, they put Al Farouk Aminu on Joe Ingles. So they had their 2 best wing guys defensively guarding Utah's 2 best guys. And it was really effective because they were able to put Damian Lillard on Ricky Rubio, and they were able to put C.J. McCollum on Jay Crowder. So they essentially hit those guys. They can't do that anymore because they no longer have Harkless and Aminu, and they didn't replace what those guys were able to do defensively. Those guys are really terrific defensively. Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum are going to have to guard people this year, like guard people who can actually do stuff basketball-wise. I'm not a fan of Hassan Whiteside because I think he's a terrible defender. So I think Portland's still going to be good. They're going to be good in a vacuum. But right now, I think they're the seventh best team in the West. I think Golden State, Houston, Utah, Denver, the Clippers, and the Lakers are all better than Portland right now. They need Nurkic back really well because he's a massive upgrade over Hassan Whiteside. He's much better than Whiteside. So they need him to get back healthy, and they need Lillard and McCollum to really perform at the highest levels that they've ever performed. So that backcourt is just really terrific. It's just that they're going to have to figure out how to defend, and I'm not sure that they have. I'm not sure that they have the personnel to defend like they have the last few years.
By the way, speaking of basketball, international basketball, I've got Brandon Taylor coming in studio with me at 1 o'clock. He's doing a camp this week, and he came back in town for a few days. He just got promoted to the French First Division. He's having a nice little career overseas. He played in Italy last year, and a top French Division 1 club brought him in. So Brandon's going to come in studio with me.
Brandon has been great. I got on the Utah beat when he was a freshman. So I was able to kind of forge a relationship with him kind of throughout his 4 years. He just got married. And like you said, he's having a really, really good career. He's a guy who can really shoot the ball. And he can really handle the basketball. Obviously, we've seen that. But more than that, he's turned into a terrific guy. So I'm really happy for him. So when you see him, he comes in, let him know I said hello, please.
I will do just that. Go back to searching for former Hoyas on Facebook and extending friend invites, Tony.
Michael Graham said yes. Michael Sweetney has not said yes yet. But I'm holding out hope.
Here's what you need to do. You need to send Michael Graham to go see Michael Sweetney, and that will get you that friend exception really quick.
That'll get it really quick.
Thanks, man.
That'll get it really quick. I appreciate it, Bill. Thank you so much.
See you later,
man.
Tony.